Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this slightly unconventional IMEC 27 presentation that I have named Piloting Pilots. The presentation will first be given as a short video, and then I will continue in a more traditional way. Piloting Pilots is a description of a project that we did on Aboa Mare in Turku, Finland, where we wanted to train maritime pilots in communication. One can say that the beginning or a need for this kind of training has arisen with the technical development of simulators. So in Aboa Mare we, for example, have closer to 10 visual full mission simulators. So we have enough simulators for many students and for different needs. Our simulators are equipped with what we call real instruments or authentic instruments. In other words, they are the same kind of instruments that students will find on board vessels and that our more experienced seafarers that come to train to us possibly have on board or similar. In our courses and in the training, of course, we use authentic fairways in the simulators. So some fairways, of course, the students are more familiar with and others less familiar with. The ship models are to their design similar to the real ships that they depict or simulate. So, for example, this Viking Grace bridge is we have the bridge is an exact replica of the bridge, and of course the hydrodynamics and so on are the same for the vessel model. This was an interesting project in that the crew of the Viking Grace could practice maneuvering with the vessel already before the vessel was built, because we had the replica bridge in our school, and of course the crew was very happy for being able to practice already in due time before starting the traffic with the vessel. However, what we have recently started to question ourselves is that are non-technical skills practiced enough in simulators, or do we focus too much on maybe the technical issues such as navigation, of course, radio communication, reports and so on, and maybe certain kinds of emergencies such as blackouts or pilot taking or pilot embarking and so on, but the non-technical skills, and by them we mean communication, language, leadership, maybe intercultural issues and so on. We know the non-technical skills can cause trouble. We have reports from all over the world, like this one from Australia, where there has been problems in pilotage, or this one from Canada, where I read the last paragraph there. A lack of teamwork on the bridge of vessels in Canadian pilotage waters is continuing to compromise safe navigation. The recent occurrences involving the Concert Express, the Lake Anina, the Malinska, the Halifax and the Irving Nordic, they all point to a lack of communication and cooperation as contributing factors in the occurrences. So there seems to be a need to practice and train crew and pilot communication a lot more than we do today. In Aboa Mare in the spring 2015, Finnpilot, the Finnish pilot company, wanted to train their pilots in communication. We decided to focus on briefings, and this is due to, for example, a study by Titta Wederhorn, where certain accidents have happened exactly due to low quality briefings or to non-existing briefings, pilot briefings, that is. So we were asked to plan the training for the pilots, and I was asked to focus on the communication part. And as you may know, there aren't that much research available on, for example, pilot communication on board and their briefings and so on. So I started to look for examples from other fields, and one very sort of researched field, of course, is medicine. So what I found was that team communication during patient handover is fairly similar to what pilots do. They hand over the patient, the vessel, to the crew. So I planned a lecture on the basis of this paper. Here you can see certain parts of a briefing. For example, assessing the situation, assessing the patient's present and future condition, and also making some kind of maybe prognosis that what is it that will happen. So based on this, I planned a lecture for the pilots. I changed the examples, of course, and I tried to marinate them, as we would say. And we discussed the different parts of briefings with the pilots that participated in the training. After the lecture and some additional training on communication, or the bridge resource management modules on communication and so on, we wanted to practice this in simulators, and some simulator exercises were planned. This is a sort of an layout for an exercise. We had two exercises. The first one was too easy. It really didn't give us a lot. The second one is a pilot disembarking on a vessel leaving port, and in a slightly more traffic. There's slightly more traffic here, and the weather is worse and so on than in our first simulation. But here you can see the ECDIS picture of the simulation. It was during night, and the pilot was or evening, and the pilot was had to disembark earlier than planned because of weather conditions and so on, and we wanted the pilot to brief the crew on the situation there before disembarking, to seeing to it that the vessel would get safely out to open sea. Here we can see the pilot boat come and pick up the pilot. Well, the question then maybe is that how did we succeed? Did we succeed with our training? And well, suppose it depends. On our questionnaires we got fairly good scores here, as you can see, from reaching from 7s up to 10s, and also on the question whether this will be useful in their future work, the results were good. So the pilots thought it was good. But to me, as a language teacher, communication teacher, English teacher, I am a bit doubtful. I still think that the training wasn't that successful, even though the pilots in the training indicated otherwise. To this discussion I will now revert, and we'll take it alive. Thank you.